Hey, good morning, everyone. You're in the office with Joseph Skoda, Joseph Stephen Skoda the third. And many of you know or don't know, at least by the flag behind me, I'm very patriotic. I'm patriotic enough where I joined the Air Force many, many moons ago, and I retired after a 21-year career at a Vandenberg Air Force Base in Lompoc, California, which is now Vandenberg Space Force Base. And what's amazing, a lot of people never heard of the base whatsoever, but we have a lot of people, a lot of groups in the community who are doing things for our fellow veterans. Like our guest today, please help me welcome Cheryl Tolan, CEO, founder, president, owner of Welcome Home Military Heroes. Thank you, Cheryl. How you doing today?
Better than I deserve, my friend. It's great to see you.
It's amazing. I've known you, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, maybe longer, and you used to do, and you still do. You're at the airport all the time with the flags. We're welcoming veterans coming back from deployments. We're welcoming veterans who maybe reached 100 years old, or we're welcoming veterans who maybe didn't quite make it. And you're always at the airport with that smile. We welcome home flight just a couple weeks ago. I met you at the Santa Maria airport, and I think was it the first or second time we chartered a plane to take them to DC? Tell us
That
a
was the
little bit
second
about that.
time. Yeah, that was the second time. The first time was in April, and we had over 1,200 people at the airport.
Wow, I was one of them.
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
one.
crazy. Talk about trying to brief everyone and get everyone in position. I
Oh,
was
that
like
was
herding a
tough.
bunch of cats.
But the way I hear you, you take charge like you were in the military yourself. No, I know you weren't, but tell us. I know your husband was and your son was. Tell us a little bit about what they did in the military.
Well, my husband, U.S. Navy, he was a boiler tech.
Okay.
Uh, and now I just forgot the name of the ship. Oh my gosh, I can't believe oh, they're going to make so much fun of me because I always do that. Okay, it'll come to me. Anyway, yeah, he was in the Navy, and then our son went into the Army
Yeah.
right after he graduated from high school and did a deployment in Afghanistan
Sure.
and did his 6 years. And then he's now back, and he's very involved in our nonprofit. As a matter of fact, our nonprofit started in 2010. Uh, the
That long
year
ago.
he was, yeah, it's been 13 years. So,
Wow.
and I just tell people I bleed red, white, and blue. I wish I would have served. If I had it to
Hmm.
do over again, I would. But I'm a patriot, and I value the freedoms that we enjoy.
Oh
And
yeah.
to me, it is so important for us to show honor and respect to every man and woman that has served this country.
I agree. And you obviously you are serving. Our family members, our spouses, our children, they are serving if they want to or not. It's a package deal. It's a
Right?
package deal. And I was
I always
so
tell them they're the
grateful.
unsung heroes.
Yes, right. My brother was in the Army. My other brother did the Marine
Mm.
Corps. My son's in the Air Force right now, stationed in Japan. And we bleed red, white, and blue also. But we noticed the generational differences about maybe what freedom means to them. I think you and I have a different definition of freedom than some of the younger folk out there. Why do you think that is?
Um, I don't know that maybe patriotism was really being taught in school.
Hmm.
I could have a couple other comments, but I don't want to get political. So,
I got you. It's hard not to. It's hard not to. I understand.
I think it starts at home,
Yeah.
and I think having that gratitude instilled in you from your parents, and that unit around you. I think that's super super important. And that's what we try to do. When we do our parades or we're doing flag lines or whatever, we encourage folks to bring their children and bring their grandchildren, because it is a way for them to be able to learn how to show appreciation, how to hold a flag, not to let the flag touch the ground. And I just think that's important. But, when you mentioned, I have something really quick I want to share with you.
Oh,
So when our
sure.
son came back from Fort Hood, and he we decided to send him as a guardian with a Korean veteran on honor flight. And we discovered there was a disconnect. That veteran wasn't very friendly to our son at first. And, he would call and he would say, Dad, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but like, he won't talk to me. Well, the second day there, they were at the World War II Memorial. And a whole bunch of young kids came up, high school kids, little kids, formed a line, shook their hands. The veterans, had tears in their eyes. And my son's veteran said, I need to talk to you when we go back to the hotel today. And when they got back there, he said to him, I owe you an apology. Even though you have served our country, I lumped you in with this generation that doesn't understand patriotism or appreciate the sacrifices that our men and women have done for this country. And he goes, and I'm sorry, you're not that way. And that's how we came up with our project called the Melissa Anderson Patriot Fund, where we will pay for a younger veteran to go on honor flight with that older veteran, because we need to bridge that gap. And we need to let our older, more seasoned veterans understand there is a younger generation that is just as patriotic about this country as they are. So
I love that.
That was a long story to your question.
I never thought about pairing up the senior veteran with someone younger. We always want to pair them with someone that they can relate to better, but I think I agree with you to bridge that gap a little bit. That's huge. Now,
When they went to dinner that night, have you been on honor flight?
I have not. I just signed up. I signed up with your son last week.
Yay! You're going to go as a guardian?
Yep.
Okay,
Whatever.
awesome.
Wherever. Yep.
So that night at dinner, after they had that conversation in the room and the veteran was super emotional, they all gathered around Robert because he was the youngest one there. So all these men were like, what did you eat? Like, what did you have boots? Like, we didn't have socks. We had no socks. So he had Vietnam veterans around, he had Korean veterans around him. And it was interesting at even though different wars and different, technology, I don't know if I'm using the right word, but it bonded them together. And so we had been slowly building that fund up in the Melissa Anderson Patriot Fund. And so we were super excited to be able to pay for 4 Guardian veterans, younger veterans that had served in Iraq, Baghdad, Afghanistan. We sent them on that trip. And then we had 3 on this last flight that came home as well. So it's just something we need to do.
If I'm not mistaken, it was like 90 veterans on that flight or something like that?
There were 92 veterans on 92? That flight. There were 186 total, because by the time you have the veterans and then the guardians and the staff. And, and the doctor, so.
You kind of need a pilot or two.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I've been to DC a couple times, and when I've seen the Vietnam Wall, and I love the Korean War Memorial because life-size statues, like in a battlefield, and I just like, wow.
Oh, and the day I went, there was fog. It was like kind of foggy that morning, but the fog was so eerie. It was like halfway up those life-size,
the statues.
Yes,
people.
It was so like I just got goosebumps now. It was that was one of my favorite. That and the World War II memorial. They're all and the Vietnam Wall, of course. I mean, hands down.
Yeah, I went there with a friend of mine he was a Vietnam era guy, and the wall meant a lot to him. It didn't affect me as much because that wasn't my war, but seeing how it touched him made me kind of rethink because we're all veterans. We all experienced something. And we still have that brother and sisterhood that we need to, respect one another's wars or conflicts.
Amen. Right.
Yeah, because anyone who's did 20 years, 15 years has seen a conflict or a war of some sort. We all have. It's part of the deal. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I spent
And
two
thank
and a
you for
half
your
years in the middle.
service. I should have
Thank
told
you.
you that. Thank you for your service. I
Well,
didn't tell
thank
you
you.
that in
You're
the
still
beginning.
serving. Thank you. I spent 2.5 years in the Middle East. I'm familiar with the Middle East. And
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I was stationed there a year and a half, and then another year in deployments. Yeah, I know pretty much. And my son spent a lot of time there also. But Nam
Yeah.
wasn't my time. And even though I spent like almost 4 years in the Philippines and I spent 12 years in Asia total. But I just had different experiences. And the
Mm.
funny thing, this morning I went for a walk. As I know,
Forgive
as
me
I'm
one
getting
second.
older, sure.
I forgot to plug in my battery for my computer. I am so sorry.
And that happens, everyone. We have to be prepared for the unexpected.
I'm
We never know what's going to happen.
so sorry. My screen went kind of dark, and I'm like, oh no, I didn't plug
Uh,
it in.
I've been there. I've been there. It happens.
Okay, so back.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off. You were saying.
No, that's all. This morning, I go for a walk because I know as I get older, you either move it or you lose it and everything in this life. So I'm out there doing my thing around the block, and I come home and I see this guy sitting down kind of by the trash can across the street. I said, okay, he must have been walking. He's tired. He probably does this all the time. And then I went outside again and I did the check on my trash can. I thought he had like an oxygen tank. Like, okay, he really needs a breather. And then I went back out the next time and I see this truck pull down the road and turn around right in front of him. Like, wow! I went over to see this guy was bleeding.
Oh
He
my
was-
goodness.
he fell. He's bleeding in his head. He was bleeding in his lip. And I didn't notice it right away. The sun was in my eyes. I just figured we got a lot of elderly people that need to take a break. I didn't think twice
Right.
about it. And he couldn't have yelled out to me if he wanted to. Now, what was interesting, the guy that pulled over was his neighbor. He recognized him. But I know for a fact at least 3 or 4 vehicles drove by him and never stopped.
Mm.
And I was almost one of them. And finding out he was a corpsman in the Navy, and the guy that picked him up was a Marine. Here I am, Air Force, and I bet everyone that passed him was not a veteran,
Mm.
or have that care or the comradeship, or we're
The
looking out for
brotherhood.
someone else. The
Yes.
brotherhood. So I felt bad. I didn't recognize it right away. And what was interesting, he had this handkerchief in his hand, and it was all bloody. And we put him in the truck, and the other guy said, "Hey, you want me to? Is that paper napkin we can throw away, or is a handkerchief?" He's like, "That's a handkerchief." So I said, "Do you want me to take it and toss this?" Oh, it's only a flesh wound. I might need this again one day. He got blood coming out above his eyebrows. His lip is all bloody, and I might need that again.
Uh,
It was funny. And all three of us were different generations of military, and it didn't matter. We had that brotherhood. It's a flesh wound. It's a flesh wound. So
oh, there we go.
interesting. Yeah,
Well, can I comment on that?
please, please.
I think that is an important note to self for us to slow down. I think we're all leading such busy lives. I mean, all of us included, right?
All of us. Yep.
That when we're going so fast that we can't take a moment, and I'm not saying
No.
anything wrong this morning. I'm just saying,
Right.
you know, we need to slow down and we need to look out for each other, you know?
You're right.
Yeah. So, but no, I'm glad you were
You're
able
right.
to finally, to get over there, because a lot of times
Sure.
you do think, oh, maybe they're just taking a rest, and
Right. I didn't think twice about it.
yeah, you don't. And then that's okay. It's not
Yeah.
anything, but now we're like, now we'll think. You've made me think, okay, I'm going to slow down. And if I see something, I'm going to stop.
Well,
So,
the interesting thing was, almost 4 weeks ago, I passed out, and
oh, that's right.
an ambulance had to be called to take me to the hospital. Now, thankfully, I was in the area. There was a lot of people around, and a friend of mine noticed because something was wrong. I would have tried to drive home myself,
What
but
happened?
yeah, I had a blockage in my stomach, and
Oh my gosh.
I've been cramping off and on for months. And well, whatever it was, it was hurt bad enough where it knocked me out. My eyes rolled back in the head, and luckily I was out on the bench outside, so I didn't hit my head on the concrete. Had a backing there, but I was one of the
Right.
lucky ones. Yeah.
Well, thank goodness you're okay, my friend. I remember that being on
Oh,
Facebook.
yeah. Yeah.
That's why it was so good to see you at the Elks. Was it last week? Yeah.
Exactly. And both stand out, and that's so important that we do those mini stand downs. So obviously we have the big one coming up here in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I do want to go to that one in December. I'm going so we can have Welcome Home there. I know my son kind of represents Welcome
Yep.
Home and Honor Flight, but
Yep.
that was the first time I had gone to that little mini one, and I saw so many people I knew there. I'm like, I've got to be here in December.
Three times. This was the first time I set up a table. Like, wow, how come I didn't do this before?
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking too.
Right. There are so many things going on, well, this time of year in the Santa
There is a
Rita
lot.
community. Yeah. It seemed like throughout the rest of the year, it's hit and miss, except for Welcome Home Heroes, of course. You guys are always busy.
We
Yeah.
are so busy right now. When COVID hit,
Yeah.
everything shut down, right?
Sure.
And our son came up with this idea. He's like, we can't shut down. Like, people are not going to remember who we are. We just because they wanted to shut us down, we need to show honor and respect, and we don't need veterans locked in a house, or not locked, but you know what I mean, in a
I do
house
know. I
alone.
do know.
And so he came up with the idea of the veteran vehicle salute.
I
And the
love it.
very
I
first
love it.
one we did was for my husband for his birthday on April 28th,
Yeah.
2020.
Hmm.
And that became such a hit. I mean, it is, I can't even tell you how many, we've done hundreds of them.
Yep.
And we have one coming up on the 28th for 6 veterans in a rest home. And even though we're kind of out of COVID, I mean, the shutdowns,
Yeah.
that vehicle salute still continues.
Still continues. I know. I see the updates all the time. Wow.
Right. And then, we have lots of different missions. We, like this Friday, there is a gentleman that passed away. He was in Vietnam. Doesn't have any family here. And Martin reached out from the VVA, Vietnam Veterans of America, to see if
Yeah.
we could get some volunteers to go
Sure.
down
Sure.
and give him a proper send off. So that's important, you know.
That's important. I've been involved with the Santa Maria Valley Color Guard, Honor Guard for the last
Mm.
10 or 15 years.
Is that Michael
And
Stagnick?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I've been involved with his team. And when he can't make it, I often do the eulogy or the presentation or whatever we do. And it's very humbling, but we
It
have to do it. We have
is.
a lot of veterans who aren't being recognized. And it's our duty, yours and I and everyone else, to recognize those veterans when they're alive, hopefully, and definitely when they
Exactly.
pass. We should be there also. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So what are some of your challenges and focuses for what you're doing right now?
One of our challenges, well, let me back up a little bit before I tell you what the challenge is. So
Yeah,
you remember Cy Tenenberg.
I do.
So Cy Tenenberg, we were very dear friends with Cy. And Cy brought his care package organization under Welcome Home because he wasn't an official 501c3. So
Oh, okay.
a number of years ago, about 10 years ago, he came to us and said, hey, eventually one day I'm going to want to retire. Yeah,
Of
right.
course.
And I don't want to form a 501c3, but I want my legacy to continue. Would you consider taking this on? And we said yes. And it's fully functional, self-serving. He has these volunteers. And then
Wow.
unfortunately, he passed away.
Uh-huh.
But we still have those core volunteers that were with him for
Wow.
years are still
Yeah.
running that running that portion of the care packages. Now, this is where our challenge comes in. We're having a very difficult time in getting names of deployed service members.
Sure.
I did meet Colonel Shoemaker, or was it
Sure.
Shoemaker from
Shoemaker.
Space Force, at the Welcome Home for Honor Flight. And he gave me a couple of names, and I'm trying to work on that because they've had some units or squadrons deployed.
Sure.
from there and getting ready to deploy. But I
Sure.
would say that's our biggest challenge is being able to send a little love from the 805 to our men
Okay.
and women who are serving.
Sure.
So if you could help some way in that,
Yep.
that's a
Yep.
challenge.
Actually, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So we'd love to be able to, we want to send as many care packages as we can. You know, when Cy was alive, he had sent over 23,000 care packages.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a
He
lot.
was a busy man. Him and his team.
He is. And then some other things we have coming up, we have, and hopefully you're tracking the time because I know you have an appointment.
Yep. Yep.
We are diligently working on our veteran golf tournament that we're putting together. It is a fundraiser for Welcome Home Military Heroes and Band of Brothers.
Yep.
That's November 10th.
And
And
before
then,
Veterans Day.
right, yes. Well, last year we had it on Veterans Day.
Oh, wow.
And we've been sold out. Thank you, Lord. We've been sold out. We were sold out for our teams in September. So it's a fun day, good camaraderie. And we love being able to meet all the veterans who come, you know, to play as well.
Sure.
And right now we're working on our veteran angel tree. This is going to be our 5th, or I think it's our 6th year. I lose track. I'm sorry. We're actually going to have eight locations on the Central Coast in San Luis Obispo County and Santa Barbara County with name tags on their Christmas trees where the community can go in and pull this tag off and purchase something for that veteran and their family. And I'm going to tell you, we work very closely with Vash, Brian at the Good Samaritan.
Yep. I work with Brian too. Yep.
And it's going to get me like teary. When you see these requests come in from these workers, the social workers, the veteran social workers, it will humble you, my friend, because they're not asking for TVs and laptops.
No.
They're asking for cleaning supplies. Like the wife will say, "Can I have cleaning supplies?" They're asking for underwear. Sorry, it gets me super emotional.
No.
It is so humbling that we have people that have served our country that
don't have the basics.
Right. Sorry. Thank you.
No.
So we served last year alone. I think we served a little under 300 families from San Miguel all the way down to Ventura. And so this is a great effort led by Julie London, who is, I call her my nonprofit wife. Because women get things done. I'm just telling you, wives get things done.
I know that, Lily. Yeah.
She does a phenomenal job running that project for us. She's got a good team of our volunteers behind her because, you know, they pick up the gifts at these locations. We log everything, then everything's wrapped, and then everything is taken and delivered to those social workers. So if we can bring happiness to that family and to their children, that's the least we can do. And then one other thing, and then I'll quit talking. Through that Veteran Angel Tree program and our collaboration with those social workers, we found that there's a need all year long. It's not just at Christmas, right?
Right.
So that's can you hear the background? Hopefully you can't hear the choice. Okay. So that actually spurred.
Looks like you're at the airport to me.
Well, I've got something outside. I'm like, that's a loud truck.
Yep.
So that actually started.
Yeah.
In housing.
A little bit.
Oh, you here? Okay.
Yep, I'm right here.
When they place that homeless veteran in housing, it says my internet's unstable. Sorry.
It happens.
They might need furniture. They might need a bed. They might need dishes. They might need towels. So we are doing that throughout the year. When we get that request, we're doing everything we can to fulfill those requests.
Sure. I love it.
So.
Well, okay. Well, how do people find you? How do people reach out to you if they want to help out or find out more about your organization?
Several ways. They can email me, Cheryl at WHMH, short for Welcome Home Military Heroes, WHMH.org, O-R-G. You can give out my phone number, 805-249-9125. You can go to our website, welcomehomemilitaryheroes.org. You can go to Facebook. We're on Facebook as a public page, and then we have a private page for security reasons. That's Patriots of Welcome Home Military Hero. We're on Instagram. If you know my son, Robert Tolan Jr., reach out to him. You can find us, and there's a lot of different ways we can plug you in. I have some people that are older that can't get out, that are seasoned in age. That's how I should say it.
Right. We use that word a lot in the military.
That are seasoned in age. And we have a card brigade. So when we have a veteran that's in the hospital, a veteran that needs encouragement, whatever it may be, we send an email to our card brigade, and they send cards out. And it is super cool. So the responses back on that have just been amazing. So there's lots of different ways we can plug someone in.
Well, great. Well, we appreciate it. And of course, we wish you the luck. And I'm in the same community you are. And we're always going to be doing, not butting heads, but doing things together. And that's important. It's important. Organizations are more important. Us as a community bond and do what's right. Basically, do what's right and honor those veterans. So,
absolutely.
Absolutely. I know I'm going to be interviewing your son in a couple of weeks, too.
Oh, awesome.
I've talked to him.
He talks just as much as I do. I don't know where he got it from.
I'll have to set aside 2 hours or something in the future. We'll have to do this again, maybe after the holidays, and find out how things went. But we definitely appreciate you here. Yep.
Well, I appreciate you. And, thank you for everything you do. It's important. You work tirelessly in our community. I see you at almost every event. And, I appreciate you, in case no one has told you that lately. I appreciate all you do.
You're making me blush. Stop that. I don't blush. I'm in the military. I'm a veteran. I don't blush.
Oh, no, because we know where our hearts are at, right? We don't do it for glory or fame or anything like that. We do it because it's a ministry to us.
It's a ministry. Right.
Right. We're serving. Right. And so I do the same thing when someone tries to compliment. I'm like, no, it's not. And I mean that. No, all I do is send an email out. That's it. I just send emails out. But I've learned to just say, thank you. And so it's important for you to be recognized.
You too, Cheryl. You too. All right, everyone. You've been in the office with Joseph Skoda and Cheryl Tolan today. Talk about freedom, talk about veterans, talking about things that really matter. Please subscribe to our channel, the Social Media Shows Network, or josephskoda.com. But more importantly, find a veteran in your community and find out how you can support them as well as all the veterans around you. I'm sure you know someone. Could be a neighbor, could be a relative, but more importantly, they're fighting for our freedoms, even long after they left the military. So thank you for everything. I salute you, Cheryl. And
I salute you, my friend.
Boom. Aim high. Rock on. If you liked our show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or find us on any social media platform, Instagram, of course, Facebook. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts and join our team. Anyways, we appreciate you staying tuned week after week, day after day, because we continuously build up our network to bring to you what you're asking for. Have a great day.